would you say that because I know that you said that the changes in the industry are what they are. Like, do you think that the industry has changed? I mean, how do you feel? Like, do you think that has changed more for the better, more for the worse, or it's just so different? It's hard to, it's hard to really say if it's better or worse.
You know what? I think it's a combination of both. I noticed during COVID, there was a huge shift in the business. Like I quit in the late 90s. I was spoon fed with Vivid. I mean, I was so coddled. I got royalties until the end of like the late 90s. And I remember the owner said, Christy, we got to talk about the royalties. I'm like, what about them? And he said, everything's so cheap now. I can't give you $5 a tape. We're selling them for $3 or DVD.
Wow. Yeah.
He's like, I'll either cash you out for every title or I will discontinue and burn the footage. Like he was such an honorable man. He is, I mean, what a great guy. And I said, I'll take the cash out per title.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You own it. You don't, and, so I got cashed out for that. And then I quit. Like you can't do royalties now. Like I've heard girls like, oh, we want royalties on what?
Oh, Hollywood's that was the whole thing with the strikes last year was now actors, because streaming, you can't really get royalties from streaming.
Right. And that's what was happening, in that late 90s, early millennium. It was going to streaming. He's like, I don't know how to calculate a royalty. So I've thought about this and these are your choices. I will go with what, that kind of thing. But then I noticed then I got on Playboy Radio in 2005. So I quit in the late 90s. I still danced on the road for 2 years. I was done after 12 years dancing. And then I wrote my book, went on Playboy Radio to promote it. And they're like, Julie Ashton's quitting. You're great. Do you want her job? So it was just like leapfrog. I always got into something. And I started interviewing these girls. And that's when I noticed in that 4-year period, the business completely changed.
Yeah.
Like girls were coming in. I'd be like, so how many movies have you done? And this one girl was like,
movies? Like,
she's like, what are you talking about? And I said, you're important. How many movies? She's like, I've never done a movie. I've done 5,000 scenes, but I've never. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay, because I didn't really keep up in that 4-year period about how that was completely changing, so, and then there was a rough period where like the mid, 2006, 7, 8, where from what the girls were saying on radio, like, I had a baseball bat in one hole and another in the other. And I'm like,
whoa,
baseball bat. Like it got hard. And the average lifespan of a porn star, not that she wasn't living still, but, being a performer was like 6 months because they would just get burned out. Donkey punches where like the guy's doing her from behind. And as he's coming, he socks her like in the back of the neck.
That's some crazy stuff.
I'm like, what happened in those 4 years? The internet. And suddenly it became like insatiable for these circus acts, or the pink eye, where the guy like is like, I'm coming.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
and that's another thing that you see in a difference. When you watch older films, they feel, I mean, this is going to sound silly, they feel nicer. Like everybody's nice to each other.
To me, it was. No one ever was like, I'm going to, put my fist in your tush. I mean, it was so, it was just different. And then it kind of turned again and it got a little bit more, tame.
Yeah.
But I think the game changer was COVID for talent.
Yeah.
Because now no one can work. Everyone's at home. Let's see what OnlyFans is about.
Yeah.
And then there's the consumers that were getting their government checks going, I can't go to work, but I just got a check for $1,000. Let me log on to Christy. So like I never got government help for some reason during COVID. I got it through the back door. I got it through the fans checks. And suddenly now we're in this beautiful era where talent is in control of their finances.
Everything. Yeah.
I love OnlyFans. I think it's the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread to come around for the talent. Because you'd hear these girls would go to the set, and be like, oh, where's my girl that I'm fucking today? Oh, well, we changed it up. Now you're doing a 3-man, anal gangbang.
Yeah.
Like, and the girl would kind of like, oh, I need the money, or whatever her reasons were for staying, but they did. And you'd hear those stories and you'd be like, why? Unless you wanted to do it, great. But I don't think that, and so I think that now, even though girls shoot for companies still, whether it's Gamma, Adult Time, Braz, or whatever.
Yeah.
But they get there and there's anything shady, they're like, go fuck yourself. I'm in hair and makeup. I'm going to go shoot some scenes for my OnlyFans, So it gives the talent more power, which I love.
Yeah, well, and that, that's really important, and it cuts out that need for where you had, I'm sure, because again, you might have had a really great agent or manager, but obviously there were a lot of scumbags that were probably very not good people that would prey on young women telling them all this stuff and doing that stuff. And now you don't have to saying, well, if you don't listen to me, you're not going to make any money. You're not going to do anything. You have to be relying on me. And now it's like, you don't need that anymore. You just sign up and you start posting and you go from there. And I think that it's created a much different environment, especially from the talent perspective.
It really has.